Hey guys, Sane here, and I'm going to be going over the patch 4.17 patch notes, and basically just give my general thoughts on them. So let's go into it. Not really going to talk about the Victor or Soraka reworks outside of the fact that I think that just from playing in the game with them, they feel pretty strong. I think that Victor might be like a really good top laner. Um, he has like a lot of good kiting ability, and he can nuke people really hard. And his W actually gives him a way of getting away from ganks. If you can get really good at stunning people and putting it on top of you, because you can like put your W on top of you and just run away. And then Soraka, I think might actually be a really good support now. She actually has a form of CC. She has the root on top of her AoE silence, um, and her heal also has like a really low cooldown. So I think she's gonna be a really good laner. And you can actually set up jungle ganks with her now, and you can actually get away from ganks. So I think Soraka's going to be pretty good. I haven't really played around these champions that much, though, outside of like a day of solo queue, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But anyways, let's get into the notes. We got Cassiopeia. She has her base mana increased to 330 from 300 and mana per level to 60. Her Noxus Blast is now zero point 0.10 AP ratio higher, and then they fixed the bug on the Twin Fang where it would vary the cooldown reset, which is just a bug fix anyway, so this isn't a buff. I think these like changes aren't really gonna make Cassiopeia be played any more or less. I feel like she's a really high skill cap champion that doesn't really uh, give you a reward for playing to her, like putting all the games in and learning her and learning all the intricacies and all the matchups. Like if you become a master Cassiopeia, you don't really get rewarded for it, as opposed to like Syndra or Orianna, who are both extremely good champions when mastered. Um, yeah, she's just too hard to play, and she's like too easy to outplay with her abilities. So, don't really think that these changes are gonna make her be played more, but maybe it'll like bump up her win rate. I think her win rate's like 49% right now or something, which is like not terrible, but maybe it'll like bump it up to that 50% where she should be. Ezreal, just particle changes. Garen, they changed his passive, which is actually pretty funny. Now you can basically get full health in a matter of a couple seconds at level 16 with how his passive works. Is now it ranks up at 11 and 16, and it goes from point 0.4 to point 0.8 to 2% your maximum health. Like that's a huge jump between 11 and 16. Like 2% of your maximum health per second. Imagine that on top with Baron regen and like what other health regen items you have. Like you'll probably be hitting like a couple hundred to 1,000 health per second. So I think you could get in like drop like a lot of damage on somebody, like drop your combo and then run out of the team fight for like a couple seconds and then like come back in at like almost full health. And you might be able to do like some hit and run tactics like that. And I also think he's going to be like pretty nice in lane because of that too, because you can do a lot more trading once you're level 11. So maybe he'll be played more. I doubt it, but I'm sure somebody's gonna find some cheesy like split push, like run around the map like roam Garen, like some like crazy bullshit with Garen that's gonna turn out to be good. There's always some guy who finds some crazy thing with Garen, or like some other random champion. So I'm sure somebody will come up with some strat with him. Upgrade can now be cast while Heimerdinger is disabled. Uh, that's a quality of life change for Heimerdinger. It's not that big a deal. And then they just did Magic and Navi Castle, Karma is disabled. These are just like quality of life changes to Heimerdinger and Karma. These aren't really that big of changes. Um, and then LeBlanc now they changed their mirror image. LeBlanc now creates a mirror image immediately, which is kind of like that's not that big a deal. I don't think. I'm not really sure what the difference between after her invisibility ends and immediately. So I mean I know how it works, like the ability. Basically, she's gonna right. Let's say Syndra ultis LeBlanc. She'll go instantly into her invisibility, and then she'll instantly create her mirror image. And then both her and the mirror image will be invisible, and they won't come out of invisibility until like you use a spell or use one of your movements. Um, I don't really see how this is gonna help her like as far as like laning goes. Maybe it'll make it like harder to gank and pick off if she gets caught out. Because also like the invisibility duration lasts longer. But I don't know. I don't think it's gonna like make her like right now. You play LeBlanc against Syndra. You go with Syndra. You do your combo. You get stunned out instantly and just die instantly. Like she just doesn't have her silence anymore. So she doesn't really have a way of dealing with these instant stun mages like Ryze and Syndra. Um, and maybe it'll make her. I don't think it's gonna do anything for LeBlanc. I think she's still just gonna be a not really played champion. And then the distortion, now you have 4 seconds to snap back to the return pad instead of 3. So she just has like more room where she can outplay people, but the fact that she can't silence you is still just like that was just like the nail in the coffin for LeBlanc. So I don't think you're gonna see any more LeBlanc play. Maokai, they reduced the store up damage on his ultimate by 100. Um, which is like a pretty big nerf. Like that's 100 damage. That's a lot, but I don't really think it changes the what Maokai does in general though, where he just soaks up a lot of damage. He's really hard to kill and he sits on carries. I still think he'll be played, but he's going to be a little bit easier to deal with. Because like now you play Maokai, you get a Roa and you W on top of the carry. You literally like one shot the carry. You're like, the fuck? Did I just get one shot by like this tank that I can't kill anyways? So maybe it'll like help tone down the damage spike a little bit that's going to be coming out of him. Oh no, I have to ban. Sorry. And then Misfortune, Strut is no longer broken by non-damaging effects. Nobody even plays Misfortune anyway, so I don't really see how that's going to help anything. Nautilus, now you can use your hook to get to like Jarvan Pillar or like Nivea Wall or Trundle Pillar. You can actually like hook off of that, which is not that big a deal. I don't think it's gonna change Nautilus or anything like that. Nidalee, they pretty much nerfed every single aspect of her being AD, like all across the board. So I think what you're gonna see now is you're gonna see a lot more AP Nidalees coming about. Because they nerfed the base attack damage on Nidalee, so now her trading in lane is a little bit worse, like her early laning phase. And they nerfed her base attack speed, which means that the attack speed that you're going to get off of the heal, is going to be toned down by quite a bit. And then also the attack speed you get from Triforce. And then takedown, they just nerfed it like all across the board. So now you're like before you get you land a spear with Nidalee, you would literally one-shot somebody. It was like disgusting how much damage it did. So maybe you won't die instantly anymore, but it still does a lot of damage though. It still has a pretty high AD ratio and it still has a pretty high base damage. So, and then they also changed the way Pounce works. Pounce cooldown now resets to 1.5 seconds and Nidalee pounces to 100 target. Kitty, killing a unit now resets Pounce cooldown to 1 second. Yeah. Before, what happened is you'd jump into a creep wave and trade with somebody, and you would kill the creeps, and it would instantly like reset your pounce cooldown. So you could just pounce on them over and over and over again until all the creep waves were dead. So they're just like toning down Nidalee's ability to like harass you and fight inside the creep wave. Swipe no longer affects the cooldown of pounce when used on a hunted target. Yeah, and they also just toned that down. Yeah, there's basically Nidalee, there was no way of getting away from her if she ever started like fighting inside the creep wave. So they just toned that down altogether. I think people are gonna play more of like an AP or like a hybrid Nidalee now, like a Frozen Fist type build or like maybe full AP Nidalee top. And that's what you're gonna be seeing now since they nerfed like all these AD things. I think Nidalee's still gonna be like pretty decent. We'll have to see though. There's like a lot of good Nidalee players out there, but she won't be like terrorizing solo queue as hard as she was before. Then they did like a quality of life change, the Rammus' Powerball and Rammus' Defensive Ball curl, where you can just change in and out of the abilities like faster. They took yeah, you can just read it. While in Powerball, Rammus now cancels the ability 1 second after Defensive Ball curl is activated. While in Defensive Ball curl, Rammus now cancels the ability 1 second after Powerball is activated. Like these are like irrelevant changes. Like it's not really going to change the way Rammus is played or anything like that. Talon, this is a really big change. Who cares about Sona? But anyways, this is a really big change. They removed the silence from him and replaced it with a 0.9 or 99% slow for 0.25 seconds, so that you can get the amplified auto attack damage on him, like the Mercy buffed attack. I think removing the silence is pretty big from Talon because now if you're really fast, you can use one of your blink abilities or you can use like an hourglass. Before, even if you had an hourglass and Talon jumped on you, he would silence you and probably do enough damage to almost kill you or kill you before you can even hourglass or do anything about it or even flash away. So now this actually gives a lot of room for to outplay Talon. And a champion like Syndra, you jump on her, she's going to stun you, and then she'll just like murder you. Then Tristana, they made it to where her Buster Shot has a longer cooldown at all ranks. Who cares? Like that's not the problem with Tristana. Like the problem with Tristana is when they need to put the mana cost back on the queue. Like she just doesn't really have any like downsides. She has an amazing late game and her laning isn't even that bad either because she can attack speed trade you like anytime she wants with her Q. Every other champion in the game that has like an attack speed steroid, there's a mana cost to it. So I think they need to put that back on Tristana. Then, yep, that's pretty much it though. Just all the rest bug fixes. But that's it for the patch notes. Thanks for watching.